In a small farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania, something impossible was happening. Two children, brother and sister, sitting across from each other at a wooden table. No words spoken, no gestures made, but somehow they were communicating. What scientists witnessed that winter morning in 1965 would challenge everything we thought we knew about the human mind. And what they discovered would make some of them wish they'd never stepped through that farmhouse door. This is their story. December 12th, 1965. Dr. Margaret Ashford wasn't supposed to be there. The child psychologist had taken a detour on her way home from a conference, a favor for a colleague who'd received a disturbing letter from a schoolteacher in Blackwood County. The letter spoke of two siblings, Emma, age 9, Thomas, age 7, children who knew things they shouldn't know. As Dr. Ashford's car pulled up the long dirt driveway, she noticed something strange. The farmhouse stood alone on a hillside, surrounded by bare trees that seemed to lean away from it, as if the wind itself wanted to escape. Inside, she found the children's mother, Rebecca Hartley, sitting in the kitchen. The woman's hands trembled as she poured coffee. "They've always been close," Rebecca whispered, her voice hollow. "But 3 months ago, something changed." Dr. Ashford asked the question every scientist would eventually ask. Changed how? Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. They stopped needing to speak. The children sat in the upstairs bedroom, positioned at opposite ends of a rug. Emma, with long dark hair and eyes that seemed too old for her face. Thomas, smaller, frailer, his gaze fixed on his sister with an intensity that made Dr. Ashford's skin prickle. She introduced herself. Neither child acknowledged her presence. Then, without warning, Emma stood up and walked to the closet. She pulled out a red sweater. Thomas smiled. "How did you know your brother wanted that?" Dr. Ashford asked gently. Emma finally looked at her, and when she spoke, her voice was flat, emotionless. "He didn't want it. I did, but he knew I'd be cold before I did." Dr. Ashford felt her pulse quicken. She decided to try something. She wrote a number on a piece of paper, 7,482, and held it up behind Thomas's head, where only Emma could see. "Thomas," she said softly, "what number am I holding?" The boy didn't turn around, didn't move, but his lips parted. 7,482. The room went cold. Within 48 hours, Dr. Ashford's report reached the Department of Psychology at Johns Hopkins University. Within a week, a team of 6 researchers had descended on the Hartley farmhouse. Dr. James Chen, a neurologist from Stanford. Dr. Patricia Voss, specializing in twin studies. Dr. Raymond Cole, an expert in sensory processing. And 3 others who would all witness the same thing. Something that should not exist. The tests began immediately. The children were separated into different rooms, soundproofed, 40 feet apart. Dr. Chen showed Emma a series of images, a dog, a bicycle, a lighthouse, a red balloon. In the other room, Thomas drew them, every single one, in the exact order they were shown. "Run it again," Dr. Voss demanded, her voice shaking. "There has to be contamination." They ran it 17 times. 17 perfect matches. But it was the 18th test that changed everything. Dr. Chen decided to show Emma something she'd never seen before, an abstract pattern he'd created himself that morning. Impossible to describe in words. Impossible to guess. He held it up. In the other room, Thomas's pencil moved. But this time, something was different. The boy's hand began to shake. His breathing became rapid, shallow. Sweat beaded on his forehead. And then he screamed. The team rushed in. Thomas was on the floor, convulsing, his eyes rolled back. Dr. Voss checked his vitals while Dr. Cole tried to stabilize him. From the other room, they heard it. Emma, screaming the exact same way, the exact same moment. When they finally separated the children completely, taking Thomas to the local hospital, both siblings fell into a catatonic state that lasted 6 hours. The mother, Rebecca, stood in the doorway and whispered words that would haunt the researchers forever. "I told you not to pull them apart." That night, Dr. Ashford went through the family records. What she found made her blood run cold. The Hartley family had a history, a dark one. Rebecca's grandmother had given birth to twins in 1923. Both died mysteriously at age 10 on the same day, at the same hour, though they'd been living in different states. Rebecca's own sister had a twin who drowned in a lake. The surviving twin died 3 days later of dehydration, in a house full of water. And then there was the letter, written by Rebecca's great-aunt in 1931, hidden in a family Bible. The gift runs in the blood, but it demands a price. They become one soul in two bodies, and when one suffers, both will pay. Keep them together, or lose them both. Dr. Ashford's hands shook as she read the final line. We are not meant to be this close. God separated us for a reason. Against Dr. Ashford's protests, Dr. Chen insisted on one final experiment. He wanted to see how far the connection went. They brought the children back together, but this time, they tried something different. They gave Thomas a mild anesthetic just enough to make him drowsy, to slow his neural activity. If the connection is real, Dr. Chen reasoned, Emma should feel it too. They administered the drug at 3:47 p.m. At 3:48 p.m., Emma's eyes became heavy. At 3:49 p.m., she slumped forward, unconscious. But something went wrong. Thomas's breathing became irregular. The anesthetic was reacting badly. His oxygen levels dropped. And 40 feet away, Emma stopped breathing. Get the crash cart. She's not responding. Her vitals are mirroring his exactly. For 3 minutes and 14 seconds, both children hovered between life and death. It was only when they injected Thomas with an adrenaline shot that both children gasped back to life simultaneously. The experiment stopped that day. The research team left the Hartley farmhouse and never returned. Dr. Chen destroyed his notes. Dr. Voss transferred to a different field entirely. Dr. Cole was found 6 months later, having suffered a complete nervous breakdown. Only Dr. Ashford kept a record. A sealed file marked Hartley phenomenon unexplained. She visited the family one last time, 2 weeks later. Rebecca met her at the door, and behind her, Dr. Ashford could see Emma and Thomas. They were in the living room, sitting side by side, holding hands. They looked peaceful. Are they okay? Dr. Ashford asked. Rebecca's smile was sad. They're together. That's all that matters. But what happens when they grow up? When they want separate lives? The mother's face darkened. That's not a choice they get to make. The Hartley siblings disappeared from public record in 1972. No death certificates, no marriage licenses, no tax returns. It was as if they'd simply vanished. But Dr. Ashford received one final letter in 1983, postmarked from a small town in Montana. No return address. Inside was a photograph. 2 adults, a man and a woman, standing on a porch, their features eerily similar. Emma and Thomas, now in their 20s. On the back, written in handwriting that was identical from both siblings. We are still here. We will always be here, together. Dr. Ashford never shared the letter with anyone. Some mysteries, she realized, are not meant to be solved. Some connections run deeper than science can measure. And some bonds are unbreakable, even when we wish we could sever them. The case of Emma and Thomas Hartley remains one of the most documented yet unexplained phenomena in psychological history. What they demonstrated challenges our understanding of consciousness itself. Here's what science has learned from cases like theirs. The mystery of twin telepathy. While identical twins often report feeling connected, most cases can be explained by shared experiences and genetics. But approximately 2 to 3% of twin cases show anomalies that resist explanation. The Hartley siblings weren't twins, yet their connection was even stronger. This suggests consciousness might operate on principles we don't yet understand. Quantum entanglement of the mind. Some quantum physicists have theorized about quantum consciousness, the idea that our minds might operate on quantum mechanical principles, where particles can be entangled across distances. If consciousness has quantum properties, could 2 human minds become entangled? The Hartley's case suggests it's possible. The price of connection. Perhaps the most disturbing lesson is that extreme connection comes with extreme vulnerability. When we're deeply bonded to another person, their pain becomes our pain. Their trauma becomes our trauma. The Hartleys couldn't survive separation, but their connection also meant neither could truly be an individual. The limits of science. Not everything can be measured, quantified, or explained. The Hartley case reminds us that the human mind might contain mysteries that our instruments simply cannot detect. Sometimes, the most honest scientific answer is, we don't know. The ethical question. Should we study phenomena we can't control? The experiments conducted on Emma and Thomas almost killed them. In our quest for understanding, we must ask, at what cost? The researchers who worked with the Hartleys learned that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Today, there are an estimated 200 to 300 documented cases worldwide of anomalous sibling connection. Most remain buried in classified research files. Because here's the terrifying question no one wants to ask. If Emma and Thomas Hartley were this connected, what if they're not alone? What if there are others? And what if the connection is spreading? Some mysteries choose when to reveal themselves. This one is still waiting. Based on documented psychological case files from 1965 to 1983, names and locations have been changed to protect privacy.